We have a new law. For example, we have new laws on immigration. And then, what will happen then? They have to be enforced. And that is something you read much in newspapers. Yes, either we don't have the rules, we need new laws, or they are not enforced. But we have read also, so that's not really true, in the past couple of months, where the immigration department, they have controls, and when they see that somebody is residing illegally or remaining illegally here on the island, then something can be done about it. And be arrested and eventually deported. So what they are actually doing, they're executing the law. So that's very easy. Guess what? The person that has been arrested is not happy. So what happens then? So what can the person in question do? Go to court. Very easy. So we know it all. We know how to get our rights. And there is where the judicial power comes in the game. I mean, if we have this, you see the little chart. If we would have these buildings, if we had to put St. Martin buildings here, what would be the building by the executive branch? The administration building. May I ask when we are moving? I won't keep it. July 1st? We have a premium here. Big news. Okay. And if we have the legislative branch, which building should we have there? The legislative branch. The parliament. Yeah. And eventually the judicial branch, of course, at the heart of our flag. And coat of arms. Okay. These are not my comics. That all those colorful roads. I want to make a little intermezzo for the following. We have discussed this broad scope of trias politica and the powers. We know it all in the. We know what we are talking about. But still, in our constitution, we also have the constitutional court. The question is, are they now part of the judicial power or not? It's a difficult question. Eh? What do you think? I don't have an answer. I will be plain to that. I don't know. Because what does a constitutional court, what is its function? Is to answer that question that when a law has been approved by Parliament, and before it is enacted, the other lady next to her, Madame Ombudsman, has the opportunity, the right, not obligation, the right, to see whether she will send that legislation that has been approved, sent to the Constitutional Court with this question, in short. I think that this law might be incompatible with our Constitution. So probably, although the Constitutional Court does not explain the law or set things right, like in the case of the to-be-deported immigrant that has been residing illegally here, but it is like a check, check, double check, triple check After the Council of Advice has gone through that piece of legislation, it has been approved by the Parliament, and still in sometimes, with all these learned minds around, you might ask whether certain rules might still be that has been approved by the people. If they are still, whether or not, against our Constitution. Yeah, the first case was about the criminal code, indeed, and now we have one about hey, we will close with that, the integrity, yeah? And if I understand well, this Thursday, there should be a decision about that. So, the Constitutional Court has like is another check before we really have this law enacted, any law, so that then the executive can demand from us, you should have known that law. Yes, I think that is what I wanted to say about that. And of course, we don't wear those robes. They use our courthouse. They are welcome once in a while. But we go, we have nice black robes and no hats, please. But that was a little intermezzo, just because you might ask, and what is this role of the Constitutional Court? Oh yes, there is some. Who would know why we have a Constitutional Court? By the way, yeah, the only country in the kingdom. Very special, very, very special that we have. We can be proud of that. But why? What was the idea? What was one of the many ideas? Why do you think?
One of the many ideas is to make sure that laws that are enacted are not incompatible with the Constitution.
Yeah, that's a very important question. But for example, if I'm the immigrant that is about to be deported, if I go to court, I can still say yes, but that is against any human right. So, and my human rights are protected by the Constitution and by all these human rights convention charters. So, if I have it well, I read it somewhere. If you have to compare the system in the Netherlands, for example, or in the States, in the United States, you have, like in the Netherlands, you have the Tweede Kamer and the Eerste Kamer. So you have like two chambers that together they form the legislative power. So you have one chamber that they go through that and they approve it. And then when that's done, it can go again for like, to the first chamber for another round, so they can rethink about it, and then it might be sent back or not. So there is a kind of they can consider it once again. But in St. Martin we are quite small. We only have these 15 members of parliament, upon we have to trust fully, and we should. But just to make sure, double check, triple check. We have this Constitutional Court. So that might have been one of the brainwaves when this Constitutional Court was put into place. But it's, at the end of the day, it's only for our own protection, best will. Yeah? Having said that, let's go to the next. Okay. As we were talking about power, the legislative power, we just learned that power is at the end a bit, it's relative, because the Constitutional Court might say otherwise. So now we're talking judicial power. Judge, you should do it. You should decide. You should determine and put an end to this power. This power is also relative. And thank goodness, it's all about balance. Huh? Executive, legislative, and judicial. When we go about to see about what this power entices, this power is determined by the parties. For example, there is a quarrel between there is quarrel between the lessor and the lessee about rent. The lessee hasn't been paying rent for 3 months, so the lessor wants to get him out. Yeah? Okay. So you go to court. Normally you can ask for two things. Judge, make him pay, and throw him out. What if the lessor only asks to throw him out? Can I, as a way of being served, to give good service to lessor, say, oh, I see that of course he hasn't paid the rent, so no problem. I will decide to throw him out, and give you a decision that he should pay. Am I allowed to do that?
No.
No. So parties determine, in this case, lessor asks the judge, I just want you to throw him out. That is what you get. If there are grounds to it, of course. And so I won't say anything about payment. I might go through it, I might mention it in my considerations, but finally, in the decision, will be given what you're asked, what you have asked for. No more and no less. So my powers as a judge in the judicial power is determined by what parties ask. That scope of the dispute is determined by them. So you might have a trouble about the rent, but you might also have a trouble about, the lessee was supposed to repair the bathroom. If that is not brought into the legal dispute, not considered. Sometimes parties, I'm looking at my friend lawyer here, lawyers mention that to give you a sense of what is going on between the parties. But is it relevant for the main question, throw him out? It's not relevant. If you didn't ask for it, I don't go about it. So that is about the scope. If I had power, you could say, total power. Oh, this judgment, for goodness sake. I'm not giving any verdict about that. I mean, no time, no chance, I don't like it. I'll let it rest. No choice. I have to. I cannot refuse verdict. I have to give a judgment. The other thing, I may not look when we are talking about a case, for example, where the administration, the government is a party. We were talking about the immigration, that illegal immigrant. I cannot look about the policy that is being conducted because it's government's policy. As a judge that looks in that type of cases, I can only look into marginally whether the correct proceedings has been followed. Because if I am to look into the effectiveness of that policy, I will be saying something about the policy, making new policy. And I said, hey judge, then you should become the Prime Minister or the Minister of Justice. It's not me, I would be sitting on the wrong chair. By saying this, I just want to explain that sometimes people expect a lot of judges, but you cannot do that much as people might think. But this, again, is because we have trias politicas. For example, if I want to be Prime Minister or Member of Parliament, then I should. When is election? Let me know. And I can postulate myself. We have some new candidates, I think, here. I can postulate and I can run. And then I can go about policy. If not, my position is limited. And the same goes with laws. Sometimes you, let me see if I can give that example. One thing, yes, that is, I think it's still pending, Madam Chair Lady, the law about, I have the two legal minds about that. Timeshare, for example. Last year I had a case about that subject. I wish I had something to help me more. I can make that law. I can speak and say in my verdict, I hope there will be a new law. But I cannot make it. I cannot change it. I have to deal with the law as it is. And sometimes it might be injustice. Might, I don't know. You can try within the scope of the law and how you try to interpret it to satisfy that feel of justice, but sometimes you just can't because you are, at the end of the day, you have the rule of law. Another thing that we have talked about is about fair trial. That is one of the human rights we all have. And a characteristic of, in this case, the courthouse, about the judges, that you have to guard that fair trial is given, or that every party should have a fair trial. It means, for example, that if you realize that a party doesn't have a lawyer, and you know that the state, the country, would be able to pay for one, sometimes you ask for help. Because you have to guard that somebody can get that access to the judge by means of a lawyer that is paid by government. Then you have, of course, that person earn enough or not. Okay, that's proceedings. But we have to guard that fair trial is guarded or is given. Fair proceedings. We have to look always. Like 2 weeks ago, I was dealing with divorce cases. And many parties you have that one of them are living abroad. So you can say, oh, verstek, divorce, given. Verstek is you can give a verdict in absentia. Is that fair? Probably when mom had to leave because she has been abused there and went to Holland with the kids. And now the gentleman has a new mamita and says, I want a divorce. Watch myself, Jesus say. I'm stepping on some toes here. It's something that happens. We deal with it every 2 weeks. Is it fair for that lady? Because when divorcing, certain issues arise. You have to talk about issue of the division of property. Oh, of course. Alimony for yourself, for the children. Who will keep authority over the children? Those are questions that you have to look into. So you have to look whether the bailiff have properly served the documents. And probably mommy really has had it with daddy and says, I'm not even coming over, so let it be. If I cannot get those documents that has been served by the bailiff, there is no giving any decision in absentia because it wouldn't be fair. So the judicial power is not absolute. You cannot just do what you want. Those are all the steps that you have to look into. But yeah, I have a big mouth about fair trial and who controls it? Yes, the lawyers who read the verdicts, the newspapers who report about it, but they can do that because those verdicts are normally public. I mean, every day I get questions from reporters, can I have a copy of the verdict? Yes, of course. Here you go. And normally, trials, if it's not about children, of course, normally they are public, open to anyone. Come by, any one of you. If you have time on, like you have, the criminal cases are on Wednesday and Thursdays. Bring your ID. The gentleman in front will have a look, but feel free. Have a look. Come and see how it works. You will see some strange people walking in black robes, but that would be the most strangest of all. At the end of the day, it's about things that could happen to any one of us. It could happen, it could be about getting a fine. Mr. John, go easy on the fines. It could be because we didn't pay a fine and then the prosecutor says, now it's time for you to sit. You know that the prosecutor's office is working hard. Where is Madame Ada? She's working hard on that project. Yes. So be aware of Miss Ada. So, why is the idea for a trial to be public? Is for a couple of reasons. Is to control what is happening, to control this judge, but also to learn for yourself. Oh, so I shouldn't drive 100 kilometers an hour on Bush Road. I mean, these are simple examples, but again, it goes much further. But you learn from it. Because at the end, what is the title of this series? The law matters to you. So this is a way to get a free lecture. Another way. And at the end, we have to make sure that we, my colleagues and I, that we are independent. Yes, we are appointed by the king for life, they say, until we are 70. If the prime minister doesn't like me, he cannot fire me. Sorry. Because I might give a decision that he doesn't like. Yeah, sorry. That's trias politica. You can't deal with it. So those are ways in which our legal position is guarded. But what about unbiased? We will be talking about later on. Every case I get, so we have, it's probably civil case. Okay, I'm free to do this case. Oh, this person, that's a party. We just had dinner yesterday. No good. I won't feel at ease to do that. Then you ask a colleague, you go and ask very politely, and please, could you do this case? Okay. But we have a problem in these little communities. We are grateful we have colleagues from Holland come and help us. But we are also, as a court, looking to have more local judges. So these local judges are because I know many of you. So I will have to learn to say no with a smile. To tell you, you lost your case. I can explain it. But tomorrow I might see the same gentleman as a police officer and say, now you're getting a fine. So we are looking for new local judges. And with local, I mean local from all the islands. As I will stand still, what are the islands that the court serves. But for local judges, and I've worked here before, and it is a challenge to always be aware of, probably you're not biased yourself, but is there not always, wouldn't you seem biased? That's something you can, it's difficult. And that is why, despite two actions a party can take to guard that, when you write it down, your verdict, it should be clear so that you can understand, okay, it is a reasonable judgment. So that is a way to control this power. Yeah? So what I said, judicial power sounds nice, but there is a lot you have to consider. We have already mentioned the courthouse. Okay, this whole judicial power that I talked about, it is confided, and I use this word confided. Fide is a Latin word for trust. It is entrusted to one organization. This is I think it's the legal entity with the longest name in of the Joint Court of Justice of Aruba, Curaçao, Sint Maarten, because those are the three autonomous countries of the kingdom, and of Bonaire, Sint Eustatius, and Saba, what we call the BES. So this is entrusted to Gemeenschappelijk Hof. If you drive around what used to be the seat of Parliament of the Netherlands Antilles, now we took it for the courthouse because we are expanding, you might see that flag with that symbol waving in front of that building.